I run a business school in Bangalore called Vanguard Business School. We've started about 5 years back. A bunch of 6 entrepreneurs, all of us from IIMs, couple of them from Ahmedabad, couple from Calcutta, one from Kozhikode and one from Excel. We have tried targeting basically those students who are not aspiring for the IIMs. So not for the kind of crowd that I have in front of me. There are more than 3,500 odd schools in B schools in this country. But having said that, we felt, at least being in the training side for 10 odd years before we started Vanguard, was that there was no quality institute which caters to the first level of managers. When you look at the entry level managers, not at the IIM levels. That's what we try to do. Second thing is, of course, the return on investment. We kind of put it at the 4.5 lakh bracket. Those of you who have done your MBAs a long time back, let me tell you, today to do an MBA from an IIM, it's cost you 15 lakhs for 2 years. How many of you know this, by the way? Oh, there are very few a lot of them you know. 15 to 16 lakhs in IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta and IIM Bangalore. The newer IIMs are charging in the 10 to 12 lakhs, but a host of institutes charge about 8 to 12 lakhs. We thought, but the jobs available are in the 4 to 5 lakh range, and that's where we try to pitch in. My journey before Vanguard was into training for CAT. In fact, for about 15 years, right from when I wrote my CAT in 1994, I started teaching for MBA entrances. I don't know how many of you know an institute called TIME. Some of the younger guys would know. I was the All India Director for CAT and TIME, and was heading the Bombay division of TIME for about 6 years. When we started Vanguard, I had 5 of us, all of them from directors of TIME. And as I said, some things did go wrong, and we started again another institute called VistaMind that I now represent. In fact, one thing I'm going to tell you the moment after this slide is that don't start 2 things at the same time. Especially if both of them are in the fledgling business. In fact, Vanguard has not even got established before we started VistaMind in the immediate year after we started this B school. Okay, VistaMind is basically into CAT preparation, bank exams, CRT. My good friend here, Rajesh, is doing a wonderful job in the job training area. He goes to various colleges in the country, more than, I think, as he said, about 500 odd colleges, train students for jobs in the IT sector, in the corporate sector. We also do a very small part of it, but we are basically into entrance training, that is CAT, banks, CLAT, etc. We are into 3rd year of operations, about 14 centers in the country, headquarters in Bangalore, but it's also there in Chennai, Calcutta and other places. That's about me. But what I am going to tell you, I'm still to figure out what will enthuse you really. So I'm going to talk about what is it to do if some of you are considering entrepreneurship and education, whether it is easy, difficult. I'm going to give you my insights or my thoughts onto that. And if at all you need any kind of help in setting up things in education, I'll be more than willing to help you. This is, of course, all of us know this. Cliche, it's a huge sector, and we talk about millions of people becoming students sooner than later kind of things. But one thing it continues to lack is obviously the innovation and quality. There is quality, there is a little bit of innovation, but I certainly believe that there is a long way to go to make this sector a easier sector. In fact, there are a couple of things I'm going to tell you which will kind of maybe surprise you. There is no single, okay, let me finish this. Key issues, one of the biggest problems in education in this country is regulation. I do not know about other countries, but definitely, as a couple of them are asking what are the legal issues you face, there are a host of legal issues if you want to get into formal education at least. In fact, most time you spend it with the university guys or the UGC guys or the AICT guys rather than teaching, which is what the reason why you are supposed to be there in the first place. Second issue, of course, is scalability. How many of you know that there are large institutions, but if you look at test preparation as an institute, as an area, very few institutes in this country are large. while I can certainly believe that 12 million or time which I was heading for Bombay and other places is close to 250 crores. But there are very, very few institutes in the country which are even closer to 1,000 crores. Not even a 1/6 of a billion. Kaplan alone has 2.1 billion worldwide. I'm sure all of us have heard of Kaplan. Not just Kaplan, I'm talking about a lot of these US, Europe, South Korea based institutes. South Korea is a far smaller country, but test preparation and or companies focused on basic education, including basic training, are far larger than that they are in India. I guess one of the reasons, of course, is regulation. Scalability is still a very, very huge issue in this country. One possible reason is we are too diverse. There's no information which is correct, which comes in at the right time. Over the last few years, let me tell you that a lot of IIM guys are getting into training too. But prior to this, believe me, the kind of people, I'm not saying that the sector did not have good people. We were all products of such teachers also. But good talent in education has always been a very, very huge problem. This is one area which, if you look at why is Kaplan such a big organization, because it's a simple, clear, for-profit business. There is zero negativity about education being a business. In fact, one of the things I keep spending a lot of time writing articles on why it should be made open to private sector too, whether it's schools, whether it's colleges. Colleges have been made partially, but postgraduate institutes as well as test preparation. There's a huge negativity about business as education as a business, which you need to tackle when you are looking at education as your possible entrepreneurship angle. There's a couple of things that I thought I will share. Education is universally same. All sectors of education are same is what lots of people think. I thought so too when we started Vanguard Business School. For 10 years, I was into test preparation, training for CAT. I thought, how could it be so different if it was a B school? It was very, very difficult. Very, very different, very, very difficult in that sense of the word. Every sector within education is different in this country. I do not know about others. Again, I'm telling you, I only know about India. So I'm talking about this. Not only that, within every sector, every segment is different. You know that after graduation, people either do GATE or do CAT or probably take up a job or rather do a bank PO, write bank PO exams or staff selection commission exams, GRE, GMAT. There is no one single player which is number one or number two in all segments, or even more than one segment for that matter. There is zero players. If you are good in one, you're just good in one, nobody else. Now, it's true for us also, by the way. But what I'm trying to say is, the reason is the dynamics of that business, of each sector itself are different. Similarly, schools are different, 11th and 12th are different, graduation is different, and post-graduation is completely different. That's something amazing. I mean, I thought it was easy, thinking that it was a simpler business to look at because you knew how to read, write, etc. But when you get into a business, when any one of you is thinking of getting into business, please be aware of what you are really, really good at and get just onto those segments only, at least to start with. There's another myth, education is evergreen. 2008, recession hits the country, recession hits education also. It's except that it's a slight lag. Recession, while it hits, there is a lag period. By the time people realize that there is recession, it's about a year or so that you will get to learn, or you get to learn that, okay, in education also it hits the same recession after a year. So is the case that after recession is over, one more year extra, this education continues to be in the same recession mode as such. Just to give you an example, there's something very nice and unique about this country. In the US, when recession hit in 2008, it was almost impossible to get a B school seat in any of the top schools. It was almost impossible, not forget about top schools, even the tier 2 rated schools, whether it's MS or MBA. In India, after 2000, it was very easy to get in. Simply because people thought, what I have, let me keep it. I will not unnecessarily upskill myself. I'll not spend too much of time trying to go to a B school to waste 2 more years and spend 10 lakhs also. The way the people think. It's true in 2001, 2002, those of us who are 2001 dot-com bust had happened. Remember, 2001, till 2001, Y2K was a huge thing. Lot of companies, in fact, Satyam made big on Y2K. Everybody joined BCA or MCA. What would you expect when there is a bust? Saying that, okay, at least next 3 years I will go into some kind of a learning mode, skill mode, etc. If anything, for the next 3 years, BCA and MCA enrollments in this country plummeted. Plummeted means less than 50%. I've been in this, I won't be able to quote exact numbers, but it's been very, very bad. Some of the schools closed down. But when did the business grow for IT again? 2004, 2005 onwards. So people, again, this is something very challenging when we're getting into business. The consumer psyche or the student psyche. I don't say it's a student psyche, it is the parent psyche, which you need to probably understand when we're looking at education as a business too. Of course, this is something which those of people who want to sell it to venture capitalists, angel funds or private equity investors, we do it. I have done that. We say, boss, this is one brilliant business. It is a negative working capital business. पैसा पहले आता है, उसके बाद you spend money. Not true at all. Not true, not because it is not true. It's not true in the initial stages of your life. Boss, first there are basic fixed costs. You need to put something on rent, you need to take people on board, etc. There are always going to be fixed costs initially. Only in steady state, when things are fine, that it becomes a negative working capital business. I'm sure Rajesh here will share the same thing with me. First 3 years of his life versus the next 3 years. Would you agree, sir? Anybody else is also into education in that sense? I mean, we have quite a lot of them. So you can always corroborate or rather contradict me on that. Fixed costs keep increasing. There is something which maybe insight into it, I'll tell you, because I have been into the cat business to a large extent, that is after graduation. There was a time when, after doing engineering, because engineering was not very costly, so people spent money also on training themselves for CAT or anything else to do their MBA. But if you look at it today, as once again to keep quoting Rajesh, 3,500 engineering colleges. The number may be staggering, but something else is more staggering. When almost all of us did our engineering, I think we would have spent a pittance on engineering. Today, to finish engineering, you will need about 8 to 12 lakhs. You go to SRM University, it's 14 lakhs in some of the areas. If you have already spent 15, 14 lakhs or 10, 12 lakhs on your engineering, there is no time for you to do one more 2 years degree, which is again another 15, 16 lakhs. One of the reasons why MBA is losing its sheen is not because the corporates don't need MBAs. Because the students do not have the wherewithal to spend that kind of money. Or the parents have given up saying that, yaar, bas, paisa de diya hai, isko pehle to reverse karo. After that, we'll come back and look at taking another loan types. That's a couple of things which I want you to know it if any one of you is thinking of it or already into it headlong already. But however, as I said, it's a huge business. There are a lot of opportunities here. Clearly, the formal sector has schools and colleges. Believe me, there is I don't want to get into statistics again because everybody knows this, but still we do not have quality schools, nor we have quality colleges. In fact, I was reading some article in Swarajya magazine yesterday itself. Despite 650 plus universities, by the way, that's the kind of universities that we have in India, 650 to 700 kind of things. I don't think there are more than a handful of them which are really worth going to. Which means to say there's a huge problem with quality still. I can say the same thing for schools to a large extent. Again, one of the issues we have always faced it in schools and formal education, it has been a very highly regulated environment. Vanguard Business School, when we started, one of the ideas was we will go to AICT or UGC and pick up their certification. But we realized I don't know how many of you can go to aict-org.india or aict-india.org. You know what is the requirement of starting up a business school in this country? Again, no, not required. AICT grant is not required. We have started without it. I am saying to get an AICT approval, what do you think would be the requirements? There are 3 points. You need a half an acre of land owned by you. If it is in the city. If it's outside the city, it's 1 acre of land. For 120 students. Sorry, 60 students. Second, you need to have exactly 17,000 square feet of built up space. Anything more is okay. Obviously. Swimming pool chahiye nahi hai, by the way, thankfully. And very interestingly, they have specifications of not how many books are there in the library, but how many square feet the library should be. I swear, 100 square meters. It's an idiotic way of trying to look at it. I'm not saying they're wrong or right. How do they go up and try to look at the 3,500 business schools? There are more than that now, similar schools also. By the way, in the last 4 years that I have started, 300 to 350 of them have closed down too. In fact, lots of people have asked me, "Dimag kharab hai kya?" Everybody is closing down schools, you are starting a business school. I have done both the things mistake. When the cat market was going down, I started VistaMind. When the business school market was going down, I started Vanguard also. Anyway, that's my problem in that sense and my wonderful partners. But what I'm trying to say is that there is still requirement for wonderful quality. There is no doubt about it. But when you look at a regulation like these things, it almost becomes impossible to deliver or do anything which will kind of make it worthwhile for the students. Because I am spending a lot of time with the regulation inspectors, saying that, yaar, mere paas ye correct space hai. Actually, those guys, the first time they come in, they actually measure the damn things. I said, okay, that's fine, kind of things. Similarly, last thing they want, it's not a regulation, but they want PhDs. They want PhDs. Do you know that they don't want PhDs in management? Any PhD is okay. Any PhD from any university in the country is okay. But they want PhDs. See, when such kind of maybe from our point of view, they are silly. Somebody would have come out with these brilliant ideas when there were issues. I'm being a little nice to them, if you notice. But what I'm trying to say is, this environment is a difficult environment. It's not an easy business. Everybody says education is easy business. Think twice before you want to get into it. Right now, e-commerce is still easy business. People are paying money even if you lose money. I mean, I don't know. Somebody was telling me that. Ajay was talking about it when I just walked in the morning. High investment and long gestation. Those of you who want to start schools, don't expect that it will work in 2 years, 3 years. The first time you're going to make money is going to be at least 4 years. Chances are that it will be 7 years. If it's especially a school, it will be easily 7 to 8 years. So when you're getting investment into the game also, talk to your investors. We have tried to doing that. I think we have not been successful. You can try. You try and say that, boss, 5 saal tak ek paisa nahi milega. Milega bhi nahi. Guarantee. I hope and everybody understands Hindi here, right? Is there anybody who doesn't understand Hindi? Oh, thankfully. I mean, it's a normal thing when you talk. I'm almost like a teacher. When I'm a teacher, I keep giving into all kinds of languages, mostly Hindi and English, of course. It is not a exponential growth. It's not it will grow surely. It will not grow till it has made a brand of its own. I'm not trying to prove anything, etc. But I'll tell you one small statistic which I know for a fact, because I'm also into coaching industry. I'm also into business school. Vanguard Business School, we've started, I told you, 5 years back. 3 batches we have passed out with 100% placement for 60 students every year. There are at least 100 B schools in Bangalore, which have been there for more than 10 years, have never been able to do 100%. Last year and the year before last, when there was a huge problem with placements too, even SIBM Bangalore, nothing wrong with that college, it's a very good college, or Wellinkar Bangalore, could not place where we could place. But Vanguard is not known, people don't want to take a chance. I remember being a time director, when I first went to Bombay, everybody went to IMS. Everybody went to IMS. There are very few people who would like say, "Arey yaar, kuch to hoga iske. I am Calcutta se aaya hai, kuch to padayega, so let me go to him." You know, it takes time. But after 4 years and establishing a brand, everybody comes to a time whether or not you teach well or not. It is the same thing. It's a mindset. Good brand. Nobody cares who teaches what happens there. It is a brand mentality, and that's true about, in fact, I'm going to talk to Mr. Ajay Lulla, who's going to help me use marketing, digital marketing also. But the point I'm trying to make is, look, it is very important to build a brand, but before building a brand, as I think Mr. Ajay also talked about in the forenoon session, you need to deliver quality. And once you deliver quality, obviously things will start becoming better. There are steady state profits. In fact, I said there is not a single institute in the country, test prep or big one, which is making exponential profits even today. It's 30 to 40% EBITDA is what you can easily look at. I still feel, this is my thought process on this, that schools, while it is very, very high, international schools are coming up in the metros, Bangalore, etc. kind of things. In the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, there is still a huge scope for improvement. There are other areas like law. 2011, the number of students who wrote the law entrance is 12,000. This year, 45,000 people wrote the entrance. The number of people has gone up 3 times. Obviously, there is a huge opportunity, people interested in that area kind of things. Similarly, maybe analytics is the flavor of the season these days. Big data, Hadoop, or whatever others they call it. I am not sure about that. But why I believe that if at all this government, our great friend Modi, changes something about education and makes it for profit, not what they are trying to more regulate, I think there could be a lot in this education. This is what I do, test preparation. The segments which are there are huge. The biggest segments are in the engineering sector, JEE, medical, engineering entrance, CPT, this is the CA entrance examination after your 12th or after your BCom, CLAT after 12th again, then after the graduation you have GATE, CAT, GRE, GMAT, abroad, going abroad, IELTS, TOEFL, etc. kind of things. There are so many opportunities provided you are good in it. Again, I'm just repeating what I said. There is no one guy who is good in one and also good in the second one. I still don't know anybody because I've been in this for too long. Akash, who is good in medical, is not good in JEE. Bansal or Resonance or LN or anybody good in JEE is not good in any other area in that sense of the word. CLAT, Career Launcher, if you don't know, how many of you know Career Launcher? Career Launcher is run by my friend Satya. Satya is 1995, I am Bangalore. He is very good in CLAT. They are not number 2, number 3 in CAT. Time is number 1 in CAT, nowhere in anything else. There is something called Bank POs, which is what the next exam is, job-oriented training. The last one is college training. There is anybody interested in education, if there is an area, there is SSC I wrote, Staff Selection Commission. You know how many people write Staff Selection Commission exams in this country every year? Any guesses? Anybody knows? More than 5 lakhs is my friend says. It's last year, 2014, 85 lakh students wrote this exam. It is the huge opportunity, but there is no one single player pan-India. There is no, it's completely geography defined. There is somebody who is good in one geography, not good in the second geography, good in one area, not good in the other area. It's something interesting about this sector, which at least I can say about it kind of things. The other area which is really coming up big and which NSDC also focusing on, the government also focusing on, the National Skill Development Program, the vocational training, driver training, various kinds of training programs for various people. That's another area which there is an opportunity. I don't know how many of you can do it. But again, my only advice, my own learning from this is, if you're good, take one, focus on that. I think which is exactly what I think all of people who have been successful have done that, rather than trying to spread yourself thin. You will fail. In fact, one of the problems that we had within Vanguard and Vistamind is we were trying to do two things completely different from each other. We thought they were similar because finally यार जो cat लिखते हैं वही तो MBA करते हैं, या जो MAT लिखते हैं वही MBA करते हैं. But the guy here is a different guy there, and that understanding, we took 2 years burning a lot of money and figuring out that, oh shit, we have to start all over again. It happens. It has happened before. It has happened to a lot of friends of mine, and before it happens to anybody else, I thought maybe Vinny is giving me some chance to tell some of you. There are other things like hobby and arts training. In fact, if Rahul Sharma can teach guitar sitting somewhere, believe me friend, I stay in Sarjapur Road, Springfield's apartments. The number of people who want to learn guitar is like crazy. And they are ready to pay 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees for 2 sessions every day, every week. So think about it. I'm not saying that you will have to leave your SAP training. All I'm trying to say is there is so much more which is coming up these days, and especially in the metros, if not in the tier 2 cities. Again, clearly the entry barrier is zero in this. It's completely free market, real free market. It's a different issue that success is not free, but it's a free market, anybody can get in kind of things. The investment also is not very, very high, at least if you don't do what we did. So you need to figure out what I did. When I started Vistamind, in every other business, by the way, I have been an entrepreneur 4 times. In each of the, initially I started off as a franchisee of Calcutta, and then first started as a full employee of Time, then picked up franchisee of Calcutta, then picked up franchisee of Bombay, and then I said, okay, now I know the business. I started off with 250 people in Vistamind on the first day, and it bombed. It took us 2 years to figure out that we made a huge mistake, and therefore we came back to saying that, okay, what should you do? Start with the numbers that you really, really want. You don't have to expand too fast. Probably true for all businesses. But I think in education, it's for sure true. Start with low to moderate investment before it becomes a big brand. This is something which has been very strong in education too, but not in JEE education, but in the after graduation, any test preparation industry, it has been very good. In fact, DPS, the schools, Delhi Public School, has done extremely well. Ryan International has done extremely well doing the franchisee-driven growth. Even the school sector definitely is a very, very good way of growing. As I said, I keep coming back to this. Still, there is a limited scalability because it's only one sector that you focus on. There are the couple of things which I thought of talking about. Startup challenges. When you're starting off, there are entrenched players. Unless there is a niche area where you want to get into, it's going to be difficult. In fact, one of the things what we have done, I'll explain to you in the next slide. The problem is if you are a Me Too product, there is differentiation. Why should somebody come to you? Unless there is a differentiation, especially in teaching, what is the differentiation that you can come out with is going to be a big, big challenge. I think the marketing costs have gone very, very high up. In fact, I wanted to talk to a couple of people. Agarwal, he talked about zero SEO cost is zero, he said. I don't think it is zero at all. It costs, even getting into SEO while you want to do it yourself, every one of these things will cost. So you'll have to be a little cost. And if you want to go on the print media, it is that much more higher. It definitely helps established players. So you have to have a better proposition before you can start, or a better differentiation before you can start a coaching. And of course, managing franchise is not going to be easy because each one is going to be an entrepreneur in himself. He will have his own ideas. How do you make sure that his ideas and your ideas match is always going to be a challenge. This is something which we have come out with, online training. While the MOOCs concept has been there from I think 6 years, 2009 is the first, or 2007, 2008 is the first time people talked about the MOOCs. It has not really taken off in India yet. For whatever reasons in the world, everybody does log into the Coursera's of the world, but nobody completes it. In fact, I have personally joined some 10 courses. I'm yet to complete even one course. I don't know how many. Some of you. Self-initiation is important. When you are doing so many things, you can't do it. We have Rakesh finishing it off. बहुत difficult है because it's, one of the reasons with online why everybody talks about online, video-based, tablet, etc. It requires a huge amount of self-initiative. And that is available to the very, very few people. When Madhurima told that I want to become a mom entrepreneur, it's not easy to become a mom entrepreneur. You need to have the drive, the passion, this thing to create. But it's not going to happen. Vinny says time is up. Nice guy. Okay, another 2 minutes, friend. Sorry about this. I said, while it's a very interesting thing, video-based tablet training, but I think there's still a long time for it to really make a difference. You get certain subscriptions, you get some registrations, but is it long-term or not? I do not know. I don't think I really want to bet on that for the moment. The teacher is very, very important still. Live classes is what we are training. We use WebEx, a conference, to do live classes. It's had some traction, better than the video-based, but the jury is still out on that. Digital marketing, overseas markets, could be one areas, going to Dubai, etc. We can really try to do better, especially 10th class training. In fact, Vedantu, which has come up right now, it's doing beautifully, very, at least they're getting the traction for the home tuitions at the Tutor Vista. You should do it. Mr. Ganesh, who started out Tutor Vista and now he is getting into Porsche. Very similar kind of businesses. He has done very, very well in this area. And he has also done very successfully marketed in the overseas areas. This is what we said. Our problem was we had a Me Too product in both the categories, unfortunately. We are another MBA. Why should somebody join you? Despite saying that, look, I will improve your attitude, I will improve your skill. It's not going to be easy to improve either attitude or skill for that matter, especially for those kids who want only a job without learning all those things. So that is one of the things that we really realized. And for us, economies of scale were very, very difficult. What we did, to be honest with you, is focus on our core competence. That is teaching, which is what we are good at. And the second thing is, thankfully, network. Vanguard is successful thanks to IIMnetWORK. There is no doubt about it. I have had 100% placement only thanks to the IIMnetWORK. It's a different issue that I did go out to hundreds of companies, but the first easy way to get in is that somebody says, yaar, mera classmate tha, ya mera junior hai, mera senior hai. It becomes much, much more easier. In fact, one thing I tell my students who want to get into an MBAs, etc., or even into the IIMs is like, look, get the brand name. That will open doors. After that, what you do is still your problem, but at least the door is open for you, kind of things. What we are trying to do, as I said, is differentiated on online training, because doing a same offline, same CAT training or bank POs may not have worked for us. It's still, we are on the verge, on the journey of it. We use Facebook effectively and very extensively. We get a lot of leads on Facebook. In fact, the world has changed and all the students are into Facebook, at least for the kind of a crowd that we are targeting. So somebody said that Facebook did not affect. Again, it depends on which area, which segment you are into, kind of things. Another thing which has really helped us, those who want to get into, is forums like Quora. We answer a lot of questions on Quora. It's a very good network, or a pagalguy.com or a mbauniverse.com. That is what also gives you a lot more traction, kind of things. This is something which I wanted to quickly wrap up on. In education, there are a lot of support services coming up. Learning management systems, you get marketplace. In fact, just to, how many of you know, Rajesh is doing something called a marketplace called chalkstreet.com, where or Vedantu is a platform wherein teachers and students come together. It's like a Uber, it's like a Flipkart, it's like everybody. Sellers and buyers are same together. That is only a platform. How good the platform is going to only depend on the marketability or the marketing, sorry, not the marketability, the marketing of that .com in that sense. Lots of people who come back and say, we have these online platforms, app development, learning management solutions, there are too many of them. Unless you have something different, it's not going to really work out. In fact, One other area which I want to tell people who want to do education focused, let's say learning platforms or technology platforms, say something like this: why should I take you? Unless you are giving me a incremental revenue as such. If you're not giving it, it's of no use to us at all in the first place. If you are only going to give me better features, the features may not be required if it is going to take away some part of my pie. So the idea is, if you have a solution, try to make it to increase the revenue of the guy whom you are targeting. That's what I would like and say. Think win-win. Make sure that the switching costs are not significant. If they are, nobody is going to switch to a better technology also, till there is a revenue increment in that sense. Of course, a lot of people like us who are there in the education business, especially in the colleges, etc., are all old decision makers. They are not new guys who will understand technology so fast. So you need to be able to tell them and address their concerns, which is probably revenue and reduction of costs. This is my last slide, Vinny, before you throw me out here. Which success factor, according to us, in today's education, whether it's offline or online, there is no doubt about it, the teacher is the king. The good teacher, people will go to, without any doubt about it. In fact, that's, we feel, should be the focus of any of the education areas which you want to go into. If it's offline, to a large extent, study material also becomes number two in that sense after teacher. Whereas in the online, ease of use of technology becomes the easier one. Offline, mentorship, and these are the four things, basically the top four, but what could be offline and what could be online will slightly change. Mentorship in online will be slightly behind study material and technology, and of course the teacher. That's what we feel is the success factors in today's education if you want to be an entrepreneur sooner than later. Final word, of course, friends, there is a huge opportunity, greater challenges, to be honest with you. I hope if you are interested, you can always get in touch with me, as well as any free gyan you want on which sector you want to go into, depending on you. Get in touch with me. My name is Arks, ARKS Srinivas. That's ARKS@vistamind.com, and you can always WhatsApp me. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Any questions by any chance? No. Yeah.
Talking about strong scalability or less scalability of the same time we talked that you have taken venture money or investor money. How do you manage the tax?
We are not able to manage. Yeah, we took money. That's why we're not able to manage. Those guys want... See, there is a clear-cut problem with when you take money. Those guys want every month तुम्हारा P&L दिखाओ बोलते हैं. Whereas you would like to concentrate on study material, you want to concentrate on teacher training, you want to concentrate on mentorship, and you don't get the time for it. So, while I would really believe that in the initial stages at least, bootstrap your business. Get it slightly better before you go for a business when you are ready to really scale up there. Time, when I was in time, in fact 2007, the first time private equity fund came into, Tiger Global put money into time. But despite the money coming in, the scalability didn't happen, because for scalability, one more important thing is there is no talent available. There is no bandwidth. You need to get the right kind of people. Interesting reason why franchises work in education is because each franchisee, he is not just a teacher, he is also a business guy. So he is ready to work 24/7. I'm not saying employees don't work, but that guy can go tomorrow morning if he has a better choice. Whereas franchisee, वो अकेला भी पढ़ा देगा. So even then, there is still very limited kind of things is what I would say.